There are occasionally times when you're gaming that you just want to smash your keyboard. It's not always the best idea though, considering the price of some of these click-clacking monstrosities. However, we finally come to the point where slapping as many keys as you can with all of the hands that you have is not only beneficial, but the entire point of the game when you're playing Berserk or Die. Dive into the role of a warrior beset on both sides by a siege of mixed warriors charging at you with nothing but ill intentions. You don't have the power to simply move, but with only the press of every single key to the right of an arbitrary midpoint of your keyboard, you'll lash out with a mighty slash of weapons and acrobatics to rend those offenders asunder and tear from their loins the bountiful coins they carried into battle. And when your stamina bar has regenerated, you can push your hands into all of the keys to the left of this arbitrary midpoint to repeat that vicious assault, but this time westward on this two-dimensional war front. But when your stamina isn't quite ready and there's a rain of projectiles headed your way, you can press one of the handful of keys in the demilitarized zone established in the middle of your keyboard to block almost anything launched at your face. Or if your special meter is full, you can unleash an unstoppable barrage of attacks that will turn the screen into a chaotic tornado of special effects and a fine mist of your opponent's body parts. You can carry on with this body boomerang bedlam from dawn until dusk when all of your enemies run off and a passing merchant falls from the sky to aid you in your pleasant slaughtering. He'll offer you delicious healing food along with a small collection of trinkets that will buff up your slashing and smashing with increased damage, range, and special effects like throwing javelins, swords, and daggers in various directions as you somersault through the eviscerated bodies of your foes. As you shred hundreds of enemies day after day, you'll eventually come across a special boss that will bring an elevated level of danger to your whirlwind of violence. Defeating them will provide you with access to the next available level, but it isn't the end of your journey. You can proceed to obliterate enemies for as long as you can stand upright and maintain your ability to tell what the hell is going on in a screen stretching from corner to corner with all sorts of bright flashing bullshit. But when you do eventually die, you can head back to the main menu to slowly reveal all of that meta progression that makes repetition fun. Here you'll unlock 100 achievements, several new characters you can take into battle, some of which don't suck, a training facility to spend your earned XP for upgrades, and an armory where you can open the dozens of boxes you've collected for new weapons for each character. Then you can head back to one of these 8 stages ready to continue being the avatar of chaos, creating a maelstrom of blinding death until you're overwhelmed by enemies or shot to death randomly by things falling from the sky. Berserk or Die. If you really hate your keyboard, now you finally have an excuse to break it. The moment I saw this game on the PC Gaming Show, I had to check it out, and I was surprised when it wasn't just a demo but actually a full release. It doesn't quite require you to play the way that it seems to though, and in one particular level it kinda punishes you if you do. There's some nuance to the apparent button smashing. Pressing all of the keys delivers a strong attack, while pressing fewer delivers a light attack. Strong attacks often fling you across the screen, and while they do the best damage, they can leave you sitting in front of an enemy ready to get smacked in your very limited health pool. I found that when I needed extra control, using a mouse was actually the best option. Here, just tapping the left or right button gave you a light attack in that direction, while holding it down was a strong attack. The same also works with the controller. However, I think that the only way you can do the strongest possible attack is to use your keyboard and slap as many keys as you can, or at least that was the only way I could do it. If you can handle all of the visual cacophony that the gameplay provides, which usually doesn't become too overwhelming until later in each stage, you're rewarded with some decent meta progression. Unlocking the stages and characters are only a part of it, as the weapons you ultimately collect can have some pretty powerful augmentations and abilities, and you'll need to level up the items you pick up in-game to ultimately unlock the broader variety. Yet even though it was only published by Vampire Survivors developers Ponkel and developed by Now Games, it kinda follows the same cues that made Vampire Survivors so appealing. Straightforward gameplay, lots of meta progression, plenty of existing content with room for a lot more, and a microscopic price tag. All qualities that make a game that's easy to pick up with enjoyable gameplay all that much more fun. Which is why it's getting the abbreviated score of good. And if you'd like to progress through the meta of this channel's hot takes, warm satire, and tepid commentary, like this video and check out more abbreviated reviews.